So this guy literally going to pull out in front of me, is he? What a douchebag.
My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 17 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice.
See around, it's cool. Sunny. Okay, welcome to another video. I've been wanting to do this video for quite some time, and it's just a long-winded video to do. I know it's probably going to be a fairly long video. I'll keep it as short as I can, but I wanted to do, everyone knows I like time lapses. Time lapses are what I create all the time, and I create them not only for their effect as a video, but also as transitions in my videos. I use them all the time as transitions, and there's just one type of time lapse that I haven't really truly got yet. And that's what they call the Holy Grail of time lapses. It's the day to night time lapse. The reasons why it's really difficult to get is because it's not easy to put together the video afterwards. You've got to remember that when you are taking a single picture of a composition, you're setting your exposure all for that one composition at that specific moment in time. When you're doing a time lapse throughout the day, your exposure generally doesn't change unless the sun's going in and out of the clouds, which does happen, and sometimes it can, not ruin, but certainly make it difficult to edit a time lapse. Because what you want is a time lapse that is seamless, so it goes right through from frame 1 to the last frame. It can be anything up to like 600. I generally do 600 pictures, and on a 24 frame a second video, you're going to get about 24 seconds, funnily enough, of footage. So the difficulty with doing a day to night, or in fact a night to day time lapse, is your exposure is constantly changing, especially when the sun is starting to hit the horizon. You don't really see it in your normal day to day because your eyes adjust really quick, and your eyes are really efficient. Your brain is so good at determining the current exposure and working out, how your eyes should react and stuff. So you yourself don't really see the difference, but in camera it's massive. The difference from, for every 5 minutes you're losing so many stops of light. And the problem with that is when you come to put together the video later on, when you're doing this, you're either going to have a well exposed first half to a really dark time lapse, or you have to exposure ramp at stages throughout your time lapse. And you'll see that if you don't adjust correctly in your video, you'll see the jump in exposure, getting, as you go through from frame maybe 1 to 100, and then 101 is actually a lot lighter than 100. You're going to see that, so you're going to see the exposure jump. Now there is a bit of software that can deal with that. It's called LR Time Lapse. Really good bit of software. I haven't got it, but I have seen it in use, and I've seen how it really does adjust really well. But it's not as difficult to use because any bit of software can be learnt, I suppose, but it is quite a hard bit of kit to get to grips with, and it's quite expensive. You can use the free version. We can only use a certain amount of frames. I don't think you can put in RAW files as well. I don't know for certain because I haven't looked at it, but it does make it really tricky to use, and again it's really expensive, about £250, about, you know, I think it's about $300, I think. So I mean, for the one, I just can't justify paying that for a bit of software that, yeah, I'm going to use it all the time, but it's not essential to my current kit, and I just think it's a bit too much. So there is another way of doing it, and those of you that have been on my my fundamentals, my time-lapse fundamentals course, you'll know that I'm quite a bit of a stickler with my time lapses, and I like them to be pretty perfect. So there is a little cheat that you can do where you can kind of overlap a certain amount of frames to transition through, if you like, so that bump in exposure is less obvious and you can't really see it. I've done it a few times with a few time lapses I've done recently, and it's worked out pretty well. It's not really noticeable. Sometimes when you do that and you've got moving objects going through, you do see a little bit of ghosting here and there, but not that it's been noticed by anyone. I certainly haven't seen it too bad. So I am going to do a Cityscape time lapse. So I live in Southsea. Portsmouth has a hill just outside of it. It kind of shields it from the rest of the country, if you like. It's called Portsdown Hill. It's fairly high up, and there are some nice spots along there where you can get some really, really good cityscapes. You know, nighttime stuff looks really good, that kind of stuff. The only problem I'm going to find today is finding a good location where I can get some good movement in my time lapse, because there's no clouds in the sky whatsoever. I'm not anywhere near water for it to have any kind of effect. Certainly a good distance inland, so the water movement is you're not going to see it. It's going to be negligible. You're not going to have any effect on the time lapse whatsoever. So having no clouds in the sky and no water to do, I have to be really careful now. My idea for this is to use the traffic. So I need to be in a location where I've got a good bunch of traffic that I can focus on, and maybe get some light trails from the car lights and stuff. I don't know. So, but this is it's almost like a test for me, because I've never done the day to night time lapse before. You know, the Holy Grail of time lapses. I wanted to have a go before I find maybe a better location. When there's clouds in the sky, I can probably go to a few more locations locally where it wouldn't matter so much, but I need to be really picky today. I need to find a really good location where I'm spot on for a decent sized road. Now I know that the M275 is the main road into Portsmouth, and it's fairly wide, 6 lanes. It should give me enough to get some decent stuff later when the lights come on and the car lights come on. I'm hoping for a pretty good time lapse. So yes, this should be quite good fun. I'll explain more when I get there. I'll get set up. I'll explain the settings that I'm at and how I'm going to do my exposure ramping as we go through the time lapse. Should be good. Should be good. Okay, so I'm going to see you shortly. Driving down Eastern Road. This is one of the other main roads out of town, and we should be up there in plenty of time to get set up and find a decent location. So I'll see you soon. Let's do this. Glad I bought a top, I know that much. Okay, I'm happy with that, I think. Let's make sure you're good on there. Let's go there. Yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. I'm up on Portsdown Hill, directing myself right at the spinnaker tower, give or take for putting the spinnaker tower just off on my right hand wall of thirds, and yeah, it's a good composition. I'm here at this location for a couple of reasons. Now, I wanted to go somewhere else. Yeah, it's a little bit further down the way. You'd get a little bit of a cross section over the top of the harbour. You get a lot of water involved in that. And the other thing is it's a bit lower that way as well. Now, it's quite important. You might think being high up in this situation would be good. But actually, the problem you have is if you take, for instance, you're taking a picture of your pet or your young child and you're up here and they're down here, what's their background when you're taking a picture of them? The background is the floor. It's a bit similar to this. My background is the Isle of Wight to the spinnaker tower, and later on when it gets darker, the differentiation between the spinnaker tower, it'll be lit up, so it'll be okay, but the highest point of the Isle of Wight is directly behind the spinnaker tower. The Lipstick building, all the buildings are kind of encroached by this backdrop of land. If I went further down that way, actually the landscape of the Isle of Wight actually goes more flat, more towards sea level, and the spinnaker tower, most of the sort of that area, the sort of Gunwharf district, if you like, has no backdrop. It's just real sky, and because you're lower down, you get a lot more sky in the picture, and it kind of works well. And that would be really good if I had some clouds in the sky. If there were clouds in the sky today, whipping across my scene, I would be further down. There's a few places that I've seen I haven't looked at yet, but I wanted to get this video done because I want to use this as a test almost to get the day to night holy grail of time lapses, at least one in my bag, a proper one anyway. I've kind of done it before, sort of, but not quite right, and I'll explain my settings in a minute and the reasons why I tend not to really get it that much. But yeah, this location's really good. I've got the M275 and the tri-sails that you might have seen in a couple of my videos before, almost directly in front of the spinnaker tower from here, and hopefully when the lights go down later on and the car lights come on, we should get some car trails in the time lapse, and that's what I'm hoping for. That'll be my movement in this time lapse. There's not really a lot of interest in the sky. We are way too far from the sea to have any kind of impact on a time lapse whatsoever. You just can't see it. It just doesn't make any sense. But in this instance, my movement is going to be the cars. Now the sun is still up. It's over there. You can see it's on me. I'm baking in the sun because I'm allergic to it. That's going to set just over the hill, and currently having a side light on the spinnaker tower is actually going to work in our favour, because it's as if you're shooting a model and you don't have the light directly above your subject. You actually put the light to the side, and often it's just behind you or to the side of the photographer, and it's kind of what I'm using the sun for today. The sun is my key light on all of the buildings, giving it some dimension, some depth. I have taken a quick image just to get my composition down right, and I'm sat in the middle of a field. I've had to come through a gate to get here, so I'm assuming there's sheep somewhere. Hopefully they don't come out later, because sheep in the dark, their eyes glow. You ever seen that? Getting back to my settings, that's a real big one for time lapse. because you've got to understand that the dimension of a time lapse is one image taken over, you know, lots of times over a period of time, and then combined later into you know, put them together into frames, if you like, and making a video. So what I like to have in my pictures as I go through my time lapse is them kind of interlink with each other. So I like to have quite a slow shutter speed. Problem today is if I use a filter now and take it off later, it's going to really mess around with the white balance and stuff. I want to try and keep the white balance steady. Everything needs to be, you know, in manual, if you like, so that the white balance doesn't change. You don't get you know, half of a time lapse looking blue, another half of the time lapse looking yellow. So it's going to be real tricky setup. My sort of go-to settings are around a second, but today is going to be slightly different because I haven't got any movement at the moment. I need to get a little bit of footage, if you like, before the sun goes down, so I'm not too worried about the shutter speed. So it can be fairly fast. I don't mind that too much, because you're not really going to see a lot, if you like. But once the sun goes down, the lights come on the car, I want to see those car trails. Now the problem is, if I have a really fast shutter speed, those car trails are just going to be like bitty through the image. I'll have to do another video and explain what I mean a little bit better. But I want to get a slow enough shutter speed so that the car trails in one picture kind of encroach on the next picture, so that there's a length of car trail, not just a light. There's a car trail into a car trail into a car trail. So yeah, so it should be quite interesting. I'm hopeful, fingers crossed, that this is going to go pretty well. And in about 5 minutes, you're going to see time lapse. I'm going to do this where I'm going to set up for about. See, I've got about an hour till sunset. Now normally I do pictures every 3 seconds, so my interval is normally about 3 seconds. But in this case, I'm going to make it every 10 seconds. Seems a little bit strange, but I can get a lot more time into my 24 seconds. So I'm going to try and take 600 images, but over a longer period of time. So from now until about an hour after sunset, and then still get that really good looking 24-second time lapse. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to start setting my camera up now, and let's do this. See you in a bit. Bye. So I've taken a quick image and I'm just checking that everything's sharp. Make sure I set to manual focus now. I'm at f11, so I'm kind of getting a lot of things in focus. I'm set up for about a third up into my image, which is about the motorway, which is going to be where the cars are coming in, so that's good. I'm going to now start setting up my white balance. White balance, I won't be in auto because I don't want the white balance to change throughout the image, so I'm going to set that manually by Kelvin. I've always been told when you do these day to night time lapses to go for a very low Kelvin, a very cold Kelvin, because later on when all the lights come on, everything starts to get that sort of very orangey browny look about it. And you can change it later, but if you change half of this video, it just isn't going to look right. So I'm hopefully going to stay very blue, not too blue, and hopefully that's going to stick out through the entire thing. It looks a little blue if I look between that one and the one before. Yeah, it's very blue, but I've got a very blue sky anyway at the moment. I'm not too worried about that. It don't look too bad actually. That's fine. I've got a few ferries going in and out. Oh, I might catch some ferries in this as well, which would be quite good. I'm kind of getting just the harbour the other side, just like the Solent harbour, just the other side of the Spinker Tower. I'm not really getting Portsmouth harbour. I'm not wide enough for that. I'm actually zoomed right into 200mm. Bearing in mind that when you do that on this, you need to have a very sturdy tripod. I'm very low to the ground. I'm not my tripod up at full height, which is why I'm sat on the ground, because even a little bit of wind, and it's a bit windy. Don't forget we're on a hill, so it's going to be windier. You're going to get movement like that. You don't want any movement. Turn steady shot off if you've got a steady shot. You don't need that at all if you're on a tripod. And make sure you've got your long exposure noise reduction turned off, because it's just going to add time to your images that you don't need. So my ISO 100, f11. I'm getting a 1/60th of a second exposure at the moment, which is quite good for this time of night. The amount of light we've got. Zoom in, that motorway traffic looks pretty damn sharp. I can almost read the signs from here, funny enough. Such a good lens. This Gmaster lens, the 70-200, is an absolute beast. I love it, and pair that with the A7 III, you've got a very good system. Okay, so I'm now going to start to look at setting my intervals. So if I go on a menu, I've now got my intervalometer inbuilt in this thing, which is friggin' amazing. I have it set on a custom menu as well, so I can get to it really easy. I don't have to go find the next nightmare. The menu system on the Sonys are absolutely bad. So I'm going to turn interval shooting on. I've got a shoot start time of a second, that's fine. Shoot interval time of 5 seconds, I'm going to raise that to 10. I'm going to number of shots down to 300, should be right actually, 300. I've got a 49-minute set of shots there, so I need to aim that for about to finish. It doesn't really matter too much to finish around sort of sunset. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to start this a stop above where I need to. Now I'm doing that for a reason, because the sun is going to start going down soon, and it's going to go down quicker for this than my eyes are going to see it. So when the sun starts going down, I'm going to lose light really fast. Now I want to make sure I can extend my shooting time as much as possible. But if I overexpose now, I can then take that a little bit further, and when I start doing the edits, I can mess around with them a little bit more as well. I'm going to use my shutter speed. I'm going to ramp everything tonight, hopefully with just my shutter speed. I may have to add a little bit of ISO, but I don't want to go too far that my pictures start to become grainy. So I'm actually going to start that now. This is now starting. I can let go. It's just going to carry on. So every 10 seconds it's going to give me an image, and that's it. So for the next couple of hours I'm going to be sat here doing this. Should be fun. See you in a bit. Oh, I just ran back to the car quick. It's just over the road, but I had to leave this here by itself. It's a bit scary, considering just that and this in my bag is probably somewhere around 5.5 grand's worth of kit. I've just added a load of workshop dates to my website. If you want to have a look across there, links in the description if you're interested in workshops. If you're interested in supporting me and my YouTube channel, taking this one step further and trying to keep everything on my YouTube as free as possible for you guys, I want to give you as much information as I can, but I do like to save a little bit back for my Patreons. My current Patrons is there. That's my current patron, who is still paying a monthly subscription to my Patreon, and he'll keep getting mentioned as many times as I can mention him. And if you want to join me on my Patreon, become one of my patrons. It's a couple of bucks, couple of dollars a month. Just wait to the end of this video. I'll do a little outro explaining what Patreon is and how you can help and how I can help you, and the kind of content you'll see, the exclusive content you'll see over on that website. So, and you've got someone on there. He's taking a video of me.
Wake up, baby, all the stars are shining bright. Yeah, we should stay up so that we can look at them all night. Just keep holding me, don't let me go. Everything's so magical. All I need is you tonight. If I shut my eyes, keeping them closed, all the senses explode. You and me under the sky. Let's stay up all night, give our hearts a new beginning. When we fell in love, every second, every minute, we were high on life. Didn't waste our time, didn't sleep as much as now. Let's stay up all
I can hear noises everywhere. I look like a thug with this on. It's not even on straight, look, one idiot. So look, lights on. It's looking pretty damn good. The time lapse is coming on really well. My speed ramping parts are, I'm trying to do it every 100 shots, so I know when to overlap and do some bits and pieces when I get back later. It's going to look pretty good, hopefully, fingers crossed. One thing to remember, a big thing to remember when you're coming out doing these things and you're going to spend 2 or 3 hours doing a full-on time lapse, is make sure you've got battery full up. Now in the A7 III it's not a problem. I've been shooting now for well over what, about 100 minutes, just over an hour and a half, give or take. It was a full battery and I'm still on 56%, which is really good. Hopefully I'm going to be out here another 40 minutes at most. Hopefully. I'm starting to get cold and I'm bored. Keep hearing things. There's people walking past me. One guy walked past earlier on, I didn't even know he was there until I saw his dog right next to me. Weird. I think my ears are going, I'm getting old. I'm now down to, my shots are 3.2 seconds a shot, which is good. I started on 1/30th of a second earlier on, but now the light's gone down so much I can get 3.2 seconds, and that's going to look really good for the car light trails. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Again, I'm going to hopefully have this time lapse zooming in to the Spinnaker Tower and the main M275 road just going in and out of Portsmouth. Let's get on. I'm bored. No one turned up with a cup of coffee. Slightly aggrieved, to be honest with you. Okay, never mind. See you in a bit. Bye. Still a little bit of light left out, which is good. Look at the sky over there. We've got blue hour sort of encroaching over the top of the city now, which is quite good. And the pictures, I think, are coming out really well. I've actually bumped up my exposure time to about 5 seconds, which is probably the longest I want it to be for these pictures. Don't want to be any longer than that, otherwise we're just going to get stupid lights going to blur from one image into the next. Yeah, I might do one more ramp in a minute, but it's probably going to be to up my ISO slightly, I think. Leave it at 5 second exposure and just bump the ISO ever so slightly. I don't think much more light in the atmosphere is going to allow for me to do much more video out here, so I'll probably carry on for as long as I can and then get the outro done in the car when we get back in a bit. I'm a little bit worried actually. I keep hearing lots of cars pull up. I can't see the car park from here because it's over the top of that hill there. A little bit worried about the car, but I don't want to leave my camera. That's what it is. Get back to the car and it'll be on bricks probably. We'll see. It is Portsmouth. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Okay, I'll get back to it, and hopefully going to be probably another 20 minutes, half hour at most. It's already about 9:25, so already a good 40-45 minutes after sunset, and I think we're going to be just losing blue hour over there shortly. It's getting quite dark over there, although the camera doesn't quite see that. So yeah, it's about another 20 minutes I'd imagine we'll be done. I've probably got one more exposure ramp to do on this, and it means I've got probably about 4 transitions in the end final video, which would be quite good. I think that's not too bad actually, really. Hopefully going to get somewhere around the 20 to 25 seconds worth of time lapse out of this. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Well, I'm going to get back to it. I'll see you in a bit. Bye. Okay, I'm glad we came back when we did. Say we, when I say we I mean me, because as I was packing up there were a group of lads messing around, and came out of the bushes just round the corner, and it would appear they're smoking something very strong. It stank. It's horrible. All done. Got a fair few images. I'm happy, I think, from what I could see in the back of the camera. Some of those images are really good, especially at the end. The good thing about doing these intervals at about 10 seconds is that I've got enough time now and again just to stop, have a look at a couple of pictures and restart the exposures, which is really good. More than happy with what I've got so far. I'm going to get home, download them and have a look, and you're about to see the culmination of what I just did. Been out about 2.5, nearly 3 hours now. I'm a bit cold, gonna go home, but I want to thank you for joining me on this one. This is just more like a test really than anything else. I'm looking to do more of these Holy Grail time lapses, and to do that you kind of have to have a little bit of a test. There's no clouds in the sky today. It's not really about that. It's about to see how the transition from day to night goes, see if I can get it good, and if I can, hopefully start scouting locations where it'll be better to do it from day to night, or potentially from night to day, or some people now are doing the day to night to day time lapses, which are absolutely crazy. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, please leave them down below. Whack this a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, you got anything out of it, fantastic. and hope to see you on another one. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. I'm going for once a week at the moment. It's going to be tricky, sort of July, August time. I've got a lot of weddings all crammed into those kind of months, so it's going to be a bit tricky, but I'll hopefully have behind the scenes wedding footage anyway, so it should be good. So I'll see you on another one. Take it easy. Bye. Still here, nice. It's good that you're still here because I want to tell you a little something. Those people who are avid followers of me, I want to give a little something back, and to do that it means working alongside you online, because a lot of you can't make it to my workshop. So I've just set up a Patreon account. It is patreon.com/Andy Hornby Photos. So Patreon is a platform where we can create stuff together, even if you're halfway across the globe, and I can learn and teach alongside you, literally alongside you. There's so many things I can do to help you get your photography just to that next level. It is awesome. If you can make it to one of my workshops, I've got a website. Go to ahphotographyworkshops.uk and have a look, see what I've got going on. But if you can't make it to one of my workshops, Patreon is a really good platform where we can create stuff together and we can take your photography to another level. So if you like what I'm doing and you want me to learn alongside yourself, see you there. Take it easy, have a good day. Bye.